Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Bernard Cana. I'm the editor-photographer of the website known as The Photo Pit. Over to my right, my friend, Danny Mazzeo, editor-photographer of the website known as The Threshold. We are here once again, continuing our discussion of the Blue Ridge Rock Festival artist announcements. Tonight, we're hoping to cover 60 through 68, if we actually get 68 to drop while we're doing the live stream.
So
Fingers
for those
crossed.
watching, nudge, nudge, let's make this happen. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, so so that's the deal. So we have a lot to cover today. Obviously, we've Saturday, Sunday today. Had a lot of interesting announcements to go through. So we're going to talk about that, and then when we get to the end of the night, we also want to talk about the poll that's currently ongoing over at the Blue Ridge Rock Festival fan zone, and discuss that as well. So should we just jump right into this? Are you ready?
You know what? I feel like we probably need to go ahead and back up. This might be people's first nights with us. You know, we have a growing crowd. There's already 15. So to our 15, thank you. If you have not joined us before, Bernard, I'll pass it over to you. Give them a rundown. What the hell are we doing, man?
Right. So we're going to go ahead and talk about all of the artist announcements that the Blue Ridge Rock Festival has been doing. If those who are new to the Blue Ridge Rock Festival itself, this festival likes to do their artist announcements piecemeal, I guess you want to call it that. It's one at a time, usually about do 2 to 3 a day, until they get to a certain point when then they'll drop the full lineup on everyone. And why do they do this? This is like the biggest discussion we ever had at all times during the fan zone. It's because it's anticipation. You start to see these artists one by one and say, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's great. Oh, look at this. I never expected that. And it builds, right? As opposed to, the majority of festivals, and I'll say the majority of festivals, I think Blue Ridge really, honestly, is the only one that does this. The majority of festivals drops a lineup and says, there you go. You look at it for a day, and then you're done talking about it until the festival happens 9 months later. Right. So this just keeps that excitement going and keeps the anticipation going. So that's the purpose of the way they do this. I love this. I love this means. I love the way they do it. I always think this is a lot of fun because it gives Danny and I some time to talk, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday to go over what's next. So plain and simple. There we go. Is that covered enough?
No. Let's talk about the actual event real quick.
Okay. Actual event real quick. So Blue Ridge Rock Festival is going to be happening from September the 8th through September 11th, 4-day festival. Pre-party on Wednesday in the campgrounds, if I remember correctly, right?
Yep.
So we have a pre-party on Wednesday, but it's only for campers. If you're not a camper, you don't get to go. I'm sorry. So they have a pre-party that's going to happen on Wednesday night. Then we'll go through 4 days, 5 stages. We're even going to have like a stage that's going to be for hardcore stuff, a stage that's kind of be looked at as like Warped Tour bands, 2 main stages side by side, which will definitely cut down on having to worry about your overlaps and running from one place to the next. And it's going to be at the Virginia International Raceway, 1,400 acres of space. And right now, Blue Ridge Rock Festival is touting this as the largest rock venue in America. First time there too, and this should be a good time. I'm expecting it to be a good time. So
it's going to be
and also as a part of this, we're going to talk about the artist announcements. We have, are you ready for this, people? Hold on to your hats for a second. 12 reunion bands, and about, I want to say 6 have already been announced, and we're going to talk about one of them tonight. 12 reunion bands, and we're still waiting on one farewell tour band. That's the one that's making me sad right now, and I cringe every time I think about it. I do, because I kind of like not. I almost don't want to know who it is, but somebody's made the decision to hang up the hat and say we're done. So, but they're going to be playing at the Blue Ridge Rock Festival, whoever that might be. We don't know. So that day will come. When it does, we will discuss it and go from there.
We will cry live with all of you.
Yes, we'll cry live with everyone else. All right. Did we cover enough for you now for us to get started?
I think we're about out of time, so let's go ahead and wrap it up.
I hate you, dude.
I'm feisty tonight. It's already been a long week. Happy Monday. Happy daylight savings time. Let's get this show on the road, man.
All right. Yeah. Happy daylight savings time indeed. And thank you everyone who's currently joined us. Share this out with your friends. If you know people who haven't seen this yet, share out the meeting invite, send it over. Tell them come hang with us and let's talk. All right, let's get going. So we're going to start off with Saturday's announcements. Saturday got off with a bang, and I loved this choice. We are talking about this is interesting, an American Christian rock band. And I kind of sat there for a second and said, okay, sure, I'll bite that. But it's like I've never looked at them that way, to be honest. Nashville, Tennessee, formed in 2002. They are brothers who formed this band with a third. And I want to say I think they're fraternal, but they look close enough. You'd almost think they're identical twins. I think they're fraternal twins. And I have to admit, I really love their music. And I think this band is hot. For those of you who've never heard of them, I'd say go listen to their stuff and you'll go like, oh yeah, I've heard of them. Because I can tell you this, Danny, my wife has even heard of them, and she's like, oh yeah, I play that song on my playlist every now and then. And if she knows them,
We're slowly
people
expanding.
find
I mean, we've talked about bands that your daughter loves. We've talked about bands that your wife is familiar with. This is going to become a family affair because this is a family event.
since during school time, yes, it could be a family event, but it's during school time, so probably not. Any
Look,
case,
I am willing to bet that if we got your daughter's teachers some autographs or some photos, something, that it could be an excused absence.
I'm willing to bet no, but that's okay.
Oh, see, Florida's not the
I
great.
like the way you think, though. I do like the way you think.
I'm a solutions guy. So who
I know
are
you
we
are.
even talking about at this point?
Right. So the band that we're talking about is Red, R-E-D. Also, at some point, they used to actually list it as R3D, with the E being essentially backwards. Um, So let's talk about a little bit about their albums, because their discography is find it. That would be helpful. All right, there we go. I think somebody missed something here. Hang on a second. Is that right? Came out in 2002. They formed 2002. Oh no, I guess that is right. All right. So we're gonna start off. Their first album, like their actual debut album, did not hit until 2006. It took them 4 years before they got signed to actually get an album out the door. That was known as End of Silence. 2009 was Innocence and Instinct. 2011 was Until We Have Faces. 2013 was Release the Panic. 2015 was Of Beauty and Rage. 2017 was Gone. And their last album they released was called Declaration. That was in 2020. Now, I will say, give me 1 second here as I am like scanning quickly through.
I'm like chomping at the bit, man. Come on.
End of Silence actually was certified gold, which means they sold 500,000 albums. Instincts and Innocence actually entered the Billboard 200 its first week at number 15. Until We Have Faces debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200. Release the Panic ended up debuting at number 7 on the Billboard 200. Of Beauty and Rage came in at number 11 at on the Billboard 200. Gone, I was trying to see, did they list it? Yep. That came in at number 13. And then let's see here, that last one, where was it? Declaration came out at number 61 on the Billboard. And I have to admit, I'm kind of not surprised by that one being lower, because with no tours, nothing to help promote, in 2020, the pandemic was ongoing. That was just the unfortunate timing, at that sense of trying to get out new music right as everything just shut down and people were more focused on
that's absolutely
other stuff.
I think that's a good observation.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can't say I'm shocked that it came in much lower, but I mean, if you look at it, like the majority of their albums came out in the top 15 on their first week out the door. And for those who don't know, the Billboard 200 is all based on album sales. So everything like from every genre of music, they look and see like what are the top album sales for that week, and then they put that all together in a hot list which known as the Billboard 200. And to me, this is my personal opinion, if you hit the Billboard 200, you got something going, because think about the thousands of artists that are out there releasing music all the time. And Red's just about every album they released was in the top 15 every time they released it,
which is just awesome.
That is awesome.
The momentum has definitely been there with them, which is just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So that's my little history for you guys on Red. What do you have, Danny, for me?
God, thought you would never ask. Thank you, Bernard.
You're welcome.
I absolutely love these guys. So this is a band that I discovered during my college days from a good friend of mine while we were mining through MySpace. And so Breathe Into Me was their streaming song on MySpace. This was before they had a record. And we absolutely went nuts over these guys, and we've been following them ever since. We had them booked to play a show with us before their record had come out. And I want to say it was their drummer who broke an arm about 3 weeks before the show.
Oh.
And, it's just one of those like, oh, we were so close. But ever since, I mean, again, it's a band that we have followed ever since. So that's story number one, real quick about Red. Story number two is this is actually one of the first bands that I got to work with Mr. Sly on promoting for a concert. And so anytime I hear Red, I immediately think of some really good times with Jonathan. So it's just really cool to see how far Jonathan has come from when we were first putting on the Red show over 10 years ago. And,
right.
Now they were also at Blue Ridge in 2019. They did a phenomenal.
I thought they were.
This is one of those bands I could go on and on and on about. When this was announced, I was just fired up. I'm ready.
Well, I was going to say real quick, yeah, David and Courtney answered for him. Yeah, they were in an accident. It was around November, I think it was November 27th in 2017. I had to go look that one up. So yes, you are correct. They were streaming songs. My gosh, MySpace. How about old school stuff?
Hey, I have no shame on that. No
right?
shame.
Whatever
There's
works.
A lot of really good opportunities to find bands that way.
I don't disagree. That's all good. It's like cool. Like, okay. It's all right. But yeah, that was, I think, like a great start to the artist announcements. Now this one, number 61. Unfortunately, I have not, let me put it this way. Shame on me in a sense, because I dug deep and hard for info on these guys. I was shocked that I could not find enough stuff on them. It's like that really like kind of threw me for a loop. So like when they got announced, I really did not know anything about them besides like, just hearing the music that they had played. And when I went digging for information on them, like I really couldn't find much either, which I was like, this is kind of crazy. The much I can tell you is that they are signed to Hopeless Records. They do have their own first album out, which is, give me one second. What's the name of that album? It is why called Part of Me. That's out. And they recently took over the fan zone on the day of their announcement, which I thought was really cool because they were very engaged. Yeah, they were very engaged with the band, with the fans and the fan zone. But the band that got announced, they're known as Afterlife. And the only other thing I could find about Afterlife is that they did have an EP that was known as Vicious Cycle. They started in summer of 2015, and they've been working hard ever since to basically get out there, and they're signed to Hopeless Records, and they're from Florida. That was the most I can tell you that I've actually found. And I have to admit, I was really shocked because so many people in the fan zone seemed to know them so well. And I was just like, I just have nothing on these guys. And I'm sorry. It's like, I'll have to do more digging to see what other, historical info I could find on them. But I will tell you that, from what music I've heard, I like what I'm hearing so far. So do you have anything more on Afterlife that you know more than I do? And
I don't know more than you. I do see that the comments are blowing up because apparently everybody loves these guys. And
good.
Now I'm going to ratchet out, Bernard. I'm sorry. So
that's fine.
Bernard and I, as we were getting ready for this launch tonight, we were like, we can't find anything written. And so I kind of jokingly, kind of seriously said, we just need to tag them on Facebook and then they'll just show up. Like these guys are everywhere. And I mean, it's just, I love their engagement. You don't see this type of grassroots efforts from everyone. And these guys are just everywhere. And I completely honestly, I was fearful to actually check them out because of how much they are everywhere. And then I really did sit down and listen to them. Their music is amazing. like just straight banger after banger. Like could not be more excited to be able to check these guys out. So it's not just a, some social media persona or something like that. These guys they seem like they're cool as hell and ready to throw down on stage.
Yeah, and I will say, like, fan interaction is massive in this day and age, especially with social media as hot as it is. And Afterlife was doing a really good job of that, especially on Saturday, engaging with everyone that was there. I will say I would definitely go check them out, from what music I've already heard so far, and I'll probably go dig some more. And if anyone else knows more historical facts, more than I could find myself, feel free to shoot them at me wherever, even if it's in the comments on the video, and I'll go and read up on them and learn more. Because yeah, I think they're going to be a solid addition without any doubt in the world to to the Blue Ridge Rock Festival. Though they're going to be one of these bands that they're going to have an unexpected, much larger crowd than people anticipated. That's how I see it with
It
them.
is going to get crazy.
Yeah, it will get crazy.
I could absolutely see it happening.
Absolutely. All right, let's see. Yeah, Doug says, yeah, he would definitely come in here if he can. I don't know. Maybe we'll schedule an interview with those guys and do it as a live stream.
God, that would be a blast.
Yeah, I'll talk about my plans with you at the end of the show. We'll talk about some plans that I have. Me and my crazy ideas. By the way, my crazy ideas is what started this whole thing that we're doing every week to start. So, I got some more. All right. Next band. This is an American metalcore band. They came out of California, founded in 1999. We're going back some old school here. They were hailed at one point as one of the 8 bands ushering in the future of metal by Revolver magazine. That band that we're talking about is called Bleeding Through. So Bleeding Through's history, at least on their discography. From 1999, they had their first album come out, their debut in 2001, known as Dust to Ashes. 2002, they released another album right behind it called Portrait of the Goddess with a different record label. They then jumped again to another album in 2003, yet via another record label, known as This Is Love, This Is Murderous. And that was the first album they had that charted. That hit the indie charts at number 43. 2006 was then an album called The Truth. That actually hit number 1 on the indie charts via Billboard. The charts where I usually discuss are all Billboard charts. The indie charts, I hit number 1, and it actually hit the Billboard 200 at 48. So you could see between, that This Is Love and then their next album right behind it, they've gained a following. With that 3-year gap, that to me makes me feel like it was the tour cycle, right? Build the fan base even more. And when they came back with new music, people were there. 2008 was the album Declaration. That actually reached number 16 on the indie charts. It had peaked at 104 on the Billboard 200. 2010, Bleeding Through. So this was their actual self-debuted album. And they had signed at this point with Rise Records. And that album charted as well, 21 on the indie, 143 on the Billboard 200. In 2012 is The Great Fire. That started at, let's see, it peaked at number 23 on the indie charts, 193 on the Billboard 200. And then in 2018, they now had moved over with Sharp Tone Records for an album called Love Will Kill All. But records indicate it didn't chart at least on the 200 at all. So their discography is pretty standard, pretty heavy. And as of right now, give me 1 second, there has not been anything further that I found on current music coming. So, but that's Bleeding Through. That's their little history for you. How much do you know about Bleeding Through?
Not more than what you just were able to share, but this is a band I am familiar with and have been listening to throughout the years. Again, showing my age. But this was just a fun band. I saw their announcement. This is a band I never got to see. So seeing the announcement, I was very hyped. This is high energy, heavy riffs, yeah. And I'm going through the comments here. A lot of people haven't heard of these guys. This is one of those bands, if you are into some heavier stuff, go ahead, do yourself a favor, check them out, listen to them beforehand, and then go for their set. It is going to be a blast.
And the interesting part here too is that in the announcement, they announced that it was a rare performance for them. So the first time on the East Coast in 4 years. So I'm like, okay. I'm just kind of curious, like, what have they been doing since then? You know, maybe there's a new album coming. It's about that time, you know, you would think if they're still actively doing music, 4-year cycle, maybe Blue Ridge will be lucky and suddenly have a surprise, right? That would be cool. Yeah, yeah. If they have new music that's coming out, I think that would be neat to be able to say, hey, you know, we aired it here at Blue Ridge. That'd be a thrill.
It really would.
Amanda says we're making her sad. We need to brush up on our metalcore. Sorry. Do the best that I can. So Megan says they are apparently working on a new album. Okay, yeah, well that'd be awesome. We hear new singles from a band like that.
Absolutely,
right? Yeah,
it's a good Amanda, way to start. I'm sorry that we're making you sad, but if anything, you should be disappointed in yourself for not enlightening us sooner, and therefore we are being caught off guard. So we're going to keep on doing this, and hopefully, maybe there's some other bands that you know that'll be announced, and you can educate us beforehand so that we're not caught so off guard. Just a thought. Just a thought.
You're wrong, dude. You're so wrong. But in any case, I'm refreshing the page just to see if another announcement came yet. Not yet. So we're still at 67. Not there yet. Okay. This one was number 60. Like my numbers are just like they're going like all over the place. Was it 63?
This is number 63.
Yep. 63. This one, I'll admit I was kind of, I don't want to say thrown aback. I use that a lot. It's like I was more not, I don't want to say shocked, but kind of like, okay, like this is interesting because I just feel like their music's it's very different, you know, compared to most of the other artists that we have seen, you know, already on the lineup. So let me go through a little bit of them. So this is a band they're listed as a rock band. I was like, I kind of look at them more maybe a rap rock band, if that makes sense. Out of Huntington Beach, California, they formed in 1994. So they've been around forever. Like according to the Blue Ridge announcement, it was 30 years. I was like, 30 years? What? Like, I didn't realize they've been out that long. And they're listed as saying it's like a fusion of like gangster rap, punk rock, you know, some reggae fused music. And I was like, yeah, I could definitely see that in their style. And the band that we're talking about is Head PE. So with them, let's go through a very, very long discography. I mean, it's huge. It's like when I saw this, I was like, wow, this is just a massive. These guys are active in the studio. All right. So remember, we said, what did I say here? They came out in 1994. So bear with me. All right. So first album was self-titled that came out in 1997, known as Head PE. In 2000, their next album was Broke. 2003 was Blackout. 2004 was Only in America, spelt with a K. Have you seen that like spelling being used by other bands too? 2006 was Back to Base X. 2007 was Insomnia. 2009 was New World Orphans. 2010 was Truth Rising. Then they took a little bit of a break because it wasn't until 4 years later that they came back then with Evolution in 2014. Forever was 2016. Stampede in 2019. Class of 2020 in, any guesses? 2020. And then Caliphus Worldwide, that was just released or to be released. I'll be check on that real quick. Was it released yet? Come on, give me a date here. No listing here. Someone else tell me if they know, but Head PE's recent album is marked for 2022. I don't know if it's out yet. So it's called Caliphas Worldwide. So if you know, let me know. But yeah, I mean, like, holy crud, this discography is like just massive. And they, you know, but I will say like a number of their albums did jump onto Billboard 200. You know, like for example, like Blackout peaked at number 33 on the Billboard 200. It made it to 21 on the mainstream rock. You know, Insomnia hit number 138 on the Billboard. You know, so I mean, these guys are no stranger to success. And, you know, for 30 years of doing this and still doing it, they got something going. I will say personally, I've not had the chance to see them live. I've only listened to a little bit of their music, but I really feel like they're going to be a nice addition to the rock festival because I feel like this is that diversity that, you know, people want to see. Like, it's not just metalcore, it's not just rock, it's not heavy metal. You know, here's something that's very different that I can go listen to that maybe I haven't heard them before, or, I want to go hear them and I'm a huge fan. I want to go see them. So I really did like seeing Head PE on the lineup. I think it's a great one. Wait on you, dude.
Honestly, it's really hard for me to contain myself about this band. I absolutely love these guys. They're from their self-titled album to Broke to Blackout, Only in America. Like just album after album, they were just. That was like one of my go-tos for just a complete adrenaline rush. Somebody that wants to find a really fun song to just jam out to for them, Swan Dive to me, or Bartender. Now, I mean, these are songs off of Broke, and they are just, it is that fusion of a band pulling in their influences from every which way. You could definitely tell it's got that California vibe from the mid to late 90s. But this is a band, and I saw Thomas commented as well on here. This is a band Thomas Blue and I have seen a number of times. This is a band I try not to blow my old man up with every one of these announcements, because though he is in Florida, I'm trying to get him to be convinced that Virginia is also the place to go. And this was one I took a screenshot and immediately sent it to him, because we have seen them so many times together and love these guys. Energy is just nuts. The crowd feeds off of it, and then they, it's that cycle back and forth to just have a fun, crazy time. So yeah, these guys got announced. I flipped out, totally flipped out.
So we're aware this is Danny's fanboy band now. So
one of.
I've had my few. Now this is his. Oh, yes. There you go.
All day long.
And I do want to call out something that I thought I had to point out for the announcement. It said that band, right, played back in 2017 a very, very small festival at the time in a town known as Concord, Virginia. That festival was the Blue Ridge Rock Festival's first debut year. So Head PE was on that lineup.
Yep.
So now they're coming back again to help celebrate a much bigger festival, a massive festival now at the rate we're going. Like, holy. So there you go. All right. Hang on a second. I saw Megan, you had a comment. I want to jump back here too. What was your December 7th or 17 of 2021?
I think that's when they had new music drop.
Was that the new album?
I believe so. If I saw the comment correctly, and if I remember seeing that drop on Spotify.
Okay.
Not a promotion for that.
No, right. Not a promotion. We don't do paid promotions on this live stream. Thank you. Okay.
No.
Just said it.
But if anybody here wants to pay us,
okay, cool.
By all means, we are absolutely willing and ready to accept.
Yeah, right. But we don't have any. I have to mark that on YouTube when I post these. If I do, I don't. So, all right. So Megan said, yeah, that's in the record camera. Thank you, Megan. Appreciate that. Thank you for the fill in. All right. Now, next one, number 64. So we're starting. This was today's.
Nope, 64 is still yesterday.
Still yesterday, still Sunday. This is the afternoon for Sunday.
Yes.
Okay. This is afternoon for Sunday. And I want to talk about this because I have some, I don't want to say conspiracy theory, but I like to use that word a lot.
It's 2 words, Bernard. Blue Ridge Math, but it's 2 words.
Blue Word. We're going to talk about Blue Ridge Math in a minute too, or towards the end of the night, we're going to talk about that. All right. Hardcore punk band is how this one is listed. They started around 2003, from what I'm looking at here. They're out of Orange County, California. Currently signed with Pure Noise Records. And this was listed. And this one, I guess, was, I don't want to say surprised, but it's like there was a lot of excitement, behind this band. And I had heard of them, but did not know enough about them. But then I listened to their music and I really like what I heard. So I will say that. And the band we're talking about is Stick to Your Guns. So their quick discography here, because they have a fairly decent one. They came out their first album in 2005 called For What It's Worth. 2008 was the Comes From the Heart. In 2010 was the Hope Division. 2012 was one called Diamond. In 2015 was Disobedient. And in 2017, which was their most recent album, was called True View. Now, in between that, they've also had a number of EPs that came out. So their very first self-released EP was called Compassion Without Compromise in 2004. Then they had it was a split CD with The Story So Far and Themselves on an album together through Pure Noise Records. Then they had that was in 2013. Then they had Better Ash Than Dust in 2016, and their most recent music release was the EP called The Meaning Remains, and that came out in 2021. So there's a little bit about the band there. I will say for myself, what little I've gotten to listen to about it, I really like what I hear. And it's like I like hardcore punk bands. I find them to be really fun. They're heavier than most, than most other bands like who are just straight rock. So I was like, yeah, I'm grooving this. I think a nice ad for the festival. Tell me about what you know or like about Stick.
I will comment. Courtney made a really good comment. Think along the lines of Knocked Loose, Parkway Drive, older Parkway. Definitely in that genre for sure. This was a band that kind of came out of left field at me a couple of years ago because this was my last show before the pandemic hit. They opened up, they opened up with Beartooth and Motionless in White. And when that tour was coming through, our extended family in the Icon Pit crew, everybody was hyped up about Stick to Your Guns and had no idea who the hell they were. But I figured if there was that much hype for the opening band, I'm going to have to check them out. Yeah. And I did beforehand. And then I went and saw them and oh my God, dude, yes, hands down, let's do this. All right. So, now here we are almost, just over 2 years since that show for me. They're announced. I'm in. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Let's talk for a second because I like to stir the pot a little bit, right?
I've noticed that.
I like to do that, but I want to, and especially when it comes to what's the word I'm looking for to use? Predictions when it comes to Blue Ridge Rock Festival. So I noticed something very specifically in this announcement because they talked about the fact that they toured with Motionless in White and Beartooth, right? I also noticed they tagged both bands in the announcement. So my question was, why would you feel the need to tag Motionless in White and Beartooth in an announcement for the Blue Ridge Rock Festival? Especially the fact that Motionless in White was already announced. I'm just going to leave it at that. I will also mention that Parkway Drive was also tagged in that, and don't give your hopes up, people. That's all I'm saying. But we've already known that they are actually supposed to be touring overseas literally during the time frame when the festival occurs. So with that being said, I kind of wondered about that they did tag them in there too. But that's all I'm saying. Beartooth got tagged, and I'm just going to leave that one alone. Discuss the conspiracy amongst yourselves.
And I love these. I love the comments, particularly Amanda, just referencing that's just what they felt like doing. So Amanda, kudos to you. Thank you for messing with Bernard's head. Let's keep this thing moving. I'm
still going to leave it out there, people. That's all I'm going to say. They tagged them. That's all I'm saying. Take that for what it's worth. In any case, let's talk about the evening announcement from yesterday. And I really love this announcement.
This is your fanboy moment.
I don't know if I'd say it's my fanboy moment. I'd say it's this one made me happy, but I'm not going to say it's I was fanboying over it, but I don't know. So this one, so rock band, right? And I'd say we're talking about pretty much, this is they're straight rock. Yes. Formed in, okay, Amanda, were you alive at this time? That's the new game now, right? With some of these older bands. Was Amanda alive during this time? 1986, when they first came out. Tell me what her answer is as I go through this.
I already know that's a no because she
It's a no.
disclosed,
She was
she disclosed the
Amanda's all
year
good.
to us.
Amanda.
Were you not paying attention?
No, I'm sorry, I wasn't.
Appreciate the honesty.
That's okay. Band
Whoa,
out.
whoa, 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 whoa!
Whoa.
People,
What?
people! They're
What?
they're giving it away. Apparently, there's another announcement while we're here on the call.
Don't give it away. We have to discuss it, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Wonderful.
all right. Can I continue on?
No,
Yes.
because
No?
I'm geeking out now.
We're interrupting our show, dude.
We're interrupting our show for important interruptions. Okay.
Yes,
This is
but
like
we
an
take
announcement.
these.
Can
We take these in
back to
order.
the announcements about the announcements with announcements? Go ahead.
We take these in order, right? That's the rule.
We do.
So
You know what? You are
we're going to
absolutely
continue
right.
on.
I apologize. I need to bring my A game. My apologies. Let's get back to it.
I ask if this ever happens where we get announcements like during the stream, please don't spoil it. Just say there's a new announcement out. Let us go take a look at it so we know what we're in for. All right. Anyway, rock band, 1986 was their formation out of Jacksonville, Florida. Thank you. I will say this. Very ironic. I will say this. This is a band that made some major waves on the rock radio, right? Without a doubt in the world. Especially, I think it was their second album. Like one, two, three. Third album made some serious waves on rock radio. And it's just like you couldn't get enough of them at that point. And I can tell you, I played that album like over and over again when I first got it on CD. Yeah. Before I started not buying those anymore and do digital. In any case, the band that we're talking about that was announced last night is Cold. And if you have not heard of Cold, go introduce yourselves to them and go listen to, and I'll talk about it when we get there, that number 3 album. So their first, hang on a second. That can't be right. I bet you that year is wrong in this thing. 1986.
I feel like they came out in 96.
It should have probably been 96. That's what I was going to say, because their first time was 98. Scratch that. It's probably 96. Because that
now,
makes me
if it was 96,
it says
then
86.
it would be after Miss Amanda.
Oh, no. It is 86 because they were under a different name at that time, known as Grundig. That's why. They didn't swap names until many years later. So it actually was 86. That's crazy. Any case. All right. So with that being said, their self-titled album is Cold, came out in 1998. Then it was 13 Ways to Bleed on Stage. That's such a great album in 2000.
Amazing album.
But this album, Year of the Spider, came out in 2003. And I will tell you that if you have not heard of Cold and you want to introduce yourself to their music, that's the album to go listen to. Because that album was just fantastic. Especially Stupid Girl. You just couldn't get enough of that. A Different Kind of Pain came out in 2005. Then there was a very long break until 2011 where they came out with Superfiction. And then just recently in 2019, 8 years later, came out with Things We Can't Stop. And they're currently actively touring around, to promote that album. And now we're going to be at the Blue Ridge Rock Festival. And I'm excited by this. I like it. And now I know you want to fanboy over it because you sent me a photo earlier today about your fanboying for Cold.
I did, particularly about Year of the Spider. It's a great album, absolutely fantastic album. This was back in the day of record stores, right, where they would get all their promos of their posters and whatever they got to do to help push albums. And they, one of the local record store was there at college campus. Basically, hey, whatever you want for your dorms, come help yourself. And they had this big 3 foot by 3 foot poster or a flag of Year of the Spider, and I took that. So but yeah, band I absolutely love. Seen them several times. Caught only the tail end of their set in 2019 at Blue Ridge due to volunteering efforts that had me off site for a fair amount of that. But this is one I'm excited to be able to catch back through and see what they've got, because just a great band, just a great rock band.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited for that one for sure, without a doubt. Doug says that was the first thing they ever covered.
Flag up as my backdrop for tonight, and then I'm not going to be able to pull that off. Too much energy.
It's okay. Doug says that's the first band he ever covered. Is
That's
that,
pretty
you mean
solid.
photo, Doug? For doing photography? Wait,
Or
no.
singers.
Yeah, I would assume. I'm assuming that's what he meant. All right. But yeah, cold. I love that. All right, moving on. So this was the
To
first
today.
announcement for today, right? So heavy metal band formed in 1996 out of East Brunswick, New Jersey. This is one of the reunion bands because they called it quits in 2013. So now here they come 9 years later to come back to play for Blue Ridge. And they did mention in the announcement that this was one of the most in-demand reunions in heavy metal genre in the most recent years. And the band we're talking about is God Forbid. So a quick little discography on them. So their
Gonna
first,
interrupt before the comment goes away.
okay,
Doug said, no, sir, singing. So, Doug,
oh,
that's
really? Very cool.
awesome. If you
Okay,
happen to
that's
have
awesome.
video, I would love to be able to see that. I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
really,
Send us a YouTube video or a track or something where you could see that. That's pretty
sorry.
cool.
Please,
No, that's
please
fine.
continue. I didn't want to lose that comment.
No, perfectly fine. I asked the question. I was waiting for an answer, so it's all good. All right. God Forbid's discography. So their first album came out in 1999, known as Reject the Sickness. 2000 and let me kind of like let me backtrack a little here. First EP came out was called Out of Misery. That was in 98. Then the first studio album was Reject the Sickness in 99. So then they had Determination in 2001, another EP called Better Days that came out in 2003. 2004 was Gone Forever. Then 2005 was the Roman numeral 4, so IV, Constitution of Treason. 2009 was Earth's Blood, and then 2012 was their last album that was called Equilibrium. And they said here, I mean, their announcement when I guess when this first came out was very like quick to the point, saying that they were done. And saying that they were finished. What I thought was interesting, what I didn't realize is that one of the members of God Forbid was Doc Coyle, and correct me if I'm wrong, is he not currently with Bad Wolves?
That was my understanding.
Okay, so I guess he's gonna come join Blue Ridge for a short time and come over. Well, wait a minute.
Bad Wolves is playing.
That's what I was
So
gonna say.
this is
I
the
guess that's
second.
convenient. Hopefully it's the
Yeah.
same day, or hopefully it's not the same day. Unless they're two separate sets, like at different times, then it'll be all right. But yeah. So I'll also say I've listened to some of their music and I like what I've heard, so I think this is cool. I'm good with this. How much do you know about God Forbid?
I know I saw them at a radio show I want to say it was in the late 2000s, and they blew me away. So yeah, this is one I'm definitely excited for.
Okay,
Like really excited for.
awesome.
Particularly
Awesome.
because it's like we've talked about on these, right? Like
Yeah,
I like to go and check the comments whenever these announcements are made. And there was a lot of excitement about this announcement.
yeah,
And it's one of those bands that I know I've seen, but knowing that there are a lot of fans out there that have not yet seen them, to me, like I feed off of that kind of energy. So I'm excited for that.
yeah. I get that. I get that. And for me, if I, the cross fingers if I get to come to the festival to cover it. That's like there's a lot of bands like this where I've never heard of them enough, and like I want to now come see them. So I'm excited about it too. I was like, this is great. I love it. I love this. I love these reunions. And let me go quickly back. So remember we talked about there was 12, right, that we're expecting. This was number 6, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this was number 6. So our prior ones that were already announced for the reunion bands, Shadows Fall, and you already know how friggin' fanboy I was about that announcement when that dropped. Kitty, Fear Factory, The Union Underground, and Down. So now you can add God Forbid to the list. 6 down, 6 more to go.
Bring
Now
it
I'm just
on.
like, who else is still out there? This is crazy. I love this though. I love these.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. Excited for this. All right. Now, number 67. Yes, 67. Okay. This one, it's funny because I won't say I'll fanboy over them, but I really do like this band a lot. you know, I'll cover them anytime they come to town. Like, and that's like a no-brainer for me. Like, there's no way I would ever miss like photographing them, you know, because I love their music. I love their vibe and energy on stage. So this is a band that comes out of Springfield, Massachusetts. They're heavy metal for sure. They formed back in 1998. Sadly, and this is the thing that really breaks my heart about it. It's that what reason why I've loved this band for so long, and then only to find, you know, their lead guitarist had passed away, you know, very unexpectedly in 2019, which is just like such a shame. It's like, because he was just so good. He's so stellar. Their replacement, you know, guitarist who they ended up bringing into the band is really good too. But it was just like, it was
It's
so
not Ollie.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like, I was literally looking for photos I had of them to post, you know, with my condolences on it, because it's just, oh, it was so heart crushing. But I mean, that's how much this band, you know, kind of means to me when, you know, when that is. But the announcement came, I was like, I'm super stoked about it. So the band that I'm discussing is All That Remains. And All That Remains is really going to be, this is going to be a special one, because they are going to do their debut album, The Fall of Ideals. And it's, no, I'm sorry, it's not even their debut album. It's their 26th album, so their third album. The Fall of Ideals, they're going to do it in its entirety, cover to cover. Holy crap.
Plus
So, yeah.
other songs.
Plus other songs. I want to discuss something about that in a minute. So quickly, their discography. Behind the Silence and Solitude was in 2002. That was their debut. This Darkened Heart came out in 2004. The Fall of Ideals in 2006. Overcome in 2008. For We Are Many in 2010. A War You Cannot Win in 2012. The Order of Things in 2015. Madness in 2017. And their last album, Victim of the New Disease, came out in 2018. And I'm kind of surprised that they didn't have something else new yet, you know, at this time. I'm like, you guys are due. Where's the new stuff? So, yeah. And just like, yeah, I mean, this, if you've not heard All That Remains, just go find anything from them. They're so good. I really love them. And just their vibe, their energy. And they did a cover of Garth Brooks' Thunder Roll, which made me go, for a second, it made me go, what? And then I listened to it, and I was like, this is actually really good. I like it.
Did a really good job of that.
Yeah, really nice job of that. So tell me your excitement, because I know you're excited about All That Remains too.
Oh my God. Yeah. Honestly, this is another one of those bands that I think my wife was into more than me. And because she was listening to them constantly, I subsequently was as well. And they just have not stopped spinning. So they are in constant rotation over here. Love those guys. They're, like you said, you know, the vibe and the energy that they bring to the stage every time is just yeah.
It's just,
yeah.
it's just
Like, this is one of those, like, I feel like I could be saying the exact same thing, just like a broken record, but it's just so true. They're just, every album of theirs is just awesome. You know, they pour everything they've got into their music and do a phenomenal
job. And hang on a second. Was it Courtney who said it? Yeah, Courtney brought it up, and I meant to bring that up because I caught it in here that their bassist Matt Dice is back with the band again, because he had left in 2006, and now he's back to perform with them again as back part of the original lineup. I mean, Phil Labonte is the only one, unfortunately, who is like the only member there who's part of the original lineup. Matt was like the next in line, you know, when he was with them from 2003, 2006, but now he's back. So I thought it was cool too. So got a reunion going. It's a good deal. Good deal. I mean, the thing, and I want to touch about this really quick. So it's another band that's going to be playing an album in its entirety. And the first thing I thought of, like after Seven Dust announced they were going to do Animosity, you know, and now we have All That Remains doing The Fall of Ideals. I'm like, how long are these sets going to be for them? Because, you know, these albums aren't short. It's not like you can give them a 40-minute set and they're going to finish that album from cover to cover. So I'm hoping Blue Ridge is going to get time to give them some extra time in there, because, you know, doing those entireties, it's like that just, it takes time, you know. And then it says, right, performing their, you know, it's an entirety plus greatest hits. So how long is their set list going to be here?
Maybe they'll play 2 sets.
I don't know. I'm just, okay, all I'm saying is, you know, just, I hope they're giving them enough time to do it. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. So, okay. So then number 68, the one that just got announced. Yeah. Yeah.
This is an awesome, awesome
I
announcement.
I'm like containing myself when I just saw this.
For
So
shame. For shame. Look,
just
if kids could be on YouTube making millions of dollars by opening up toys, this is like an unboxing video for us,
this
okay?
is an unboxing video for this
You know,
announcement
like
too.
this is straight
Holy
up, you are getting a true reaction of
wow.
the
This
name,
is
all
this
right?
okay.
This
This for
is
me is a
awesome.
wow. This it's like outside of like Darkness Falls, right? When they got announced of like if you're gonna look at and say what band is coming to Blue Ridge that is the band you want to see the most right now, Darkness Falls is like up there for me at the top, like at the top of the list. Seven Dust is probably like my number one next to Ginger. You know, I mean it's just there's Seven Dust. Um, this band though, like if any other bands had not been announced, I would come just for that because that's how much I love them. So, but and this is and then once again, believe this or not, a Christian metal band, which I never look at them that way ever. Out of Seattle, Washington, they started back in 2000. Two brothers, who did it. They're I mean I don't know if I call them metalcore. I was like I'm not sure if like they kind of quite fit that to me, but I mean I could see why some people would think they were. Um, and the one thing about them is that I find them to be very unique as to like their timings of touring. It's almost like, it's like kind of like, like record labels like push a band to say like, okay, you got to go do this tour. You just came out with this new album. And it feels like with them, like they tour at their own pace, like when they want to, so it's like, they haven't been active like in a couple of years. So to see this announcement made me go, holy crap. Like,
Well,
yeah,
and,
I
and
will
it's
see them
not typically the
anytime.
festival band. They're not on the festival circuits much. So,
No, they're
you know,
not,
which
and they
which to
should
me
be.
it's like, oh God, this is just so cool.
But ironically, the first time I ever got to see them live and photograph them was at a festival. Go figure that. But yeah, but they don't do right. You're right though. They don't do festival offense. But the band that we're talking about here is a band I absolutely love and I'm excited for this one is Demon Hunter. Oh, holy crap. Yeah, I love these guys and they have a huge, when I say huge, they have a huge discography. Um, so let me run through the hang on a second. Okay. Let me run through this real quick. So, self-titled album came out in 2002. Then there was Summer of Darkness 2004, The Triptych in 2005, Storm the Gates of Hell in 2007, The World is a Thorn in 2010, Extremis in 2014, Outlive in 2017. That is a phenomenal album. Go listen to that. If you want to like to really get a feel for Demon Hunter, Outlive is probably the one to
Yes.
listen to. And then they came out with a dual album in 2019. It was War and Peace. So they were two separate albums, two full set lists, as studio albums. They released them, I think they were both at the same time. And I'm going to check that real quick. I swore they were. Um, yep, they both released on March the 1st. March 16th, they actually made it into the top 5 of Billboard's Christian albums. Go figure. Because like I said, I just don't see them that way as a Christian band, but whatever. It's all good.
It's actually
Songs of
how I found them.
is it really? Okay.
It
Go
is.
figure.
And it was one of those. I was looking. I was specifically trying to find more music of that genre, and that was one everybody kept on saying. You got to check these guys out. You got to check these guys out. I was
Okay.
hooked.
Yeah, I mean I was too when the first time I heard them. Songs of Death and Resurrection came out in 2021 and new music due from them this year in 2022 for the album title of Exile. Yeah. Yeah. Demon Hunter, holy crap. I'm excited. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love
I
it.
haven't seen them before, so this is a non-negotiable must.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, to anyone, if you're even highly like wondering, this is a must-see band to me, especially at the festival. This is the one that, when the lineup fully comes out and everyone's highlighting these are the bands I want to see, Demon Hunter for me is in green all the way, anytime, any day. Just have to. It's Demon Hunter. It's like holy. And it says here this is gonna be their first Virginia show in 9 years. I mean, that's how like limited they tour. It's crazy because they probably could tour more if they really wanted to. They just, I think, choose not to. Like, go figure. But oh, I love these guys. Love them.
Yeah. I'm like trying to process this while, you know, while we're still doing, I'm just like, yeah, I'm in a good place right now. That was a really, really, really strong announcement for tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this lineup is just fleshing out to be so good. And it's so good and it's so unique. You know, it's like you have your famous bands. You have all the Remains, the Killswitch Engages, the Anthrax, the Seven Dust, stuff like that. And then you have these odd ones. Not, I don't even say odd, but these one-offs that you just don't get to see often. Like Cold, and now Demon Hunter and Darkness Falls and Kitty, and it's just like, wow, this lineup is shaping up to be something really special. For me already, with the bands that they've listed, it's something special, without a doubt in the world. Demon Hunter's now just topping it. It's like, you got, for me personally, it's like, it's Ginger, Seven Dust, Kitty I've been dying to see for a while. Darkness Falls, like, holy bleep, I was waiting for that. Like, one day, hopefully, never come true. There it is. And then you have, now Demon Hunter on the top of that. It's like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. It's like, and we still have more to go. We still have more to go. Like, it's crazy. Just crazy.
Yeah, people still haven't gotten tickets, so get tickets. They are not slowing down with these announcements. We are still not halfway there.
No, I know. It's even crazier. And thank you, Aiden. I appreciate that for his comment on he just finally watched the last one we did, and with the video, the pictures I shared on there, because I always have pictures to share, especially in this moment. So that was cool. Yeah, and then there, once again, in this moment, I mean, these are just, these are, I think, this is really showing, and for those, who are watching who haven't seen, right, the Blue Ridge Rock Festival is really known as the fan-driven experience. That's its tagline. And it really is. If you look at just the bands that they've already announced, these are really fan favorite bands. And they don't all have to be massive headliners, that are selling out arenas around the world or anything along those lines. Like, not by any way, shape, or form. But these are bands that fill up venues every single time they play, no matter where it is, because that's just how well known they are. Right.
I want to jump in on this, because I think this is a perfect segue opportunity for fan-driven experience, right? So, I think one of their comments is some 285,000 fan votes. It's and crazy. These votes are just, the fact that they have people tallying all of this and pulling all the information together from the different websites and God knows wherever else. But these polls are still happening. So I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but they had referenced that a band that had been booked, not yet announced, had to drop. Here's a list of bands. Who would you be interested in seeing? And these aren't just like no-name bands that, okay, let's just fill the gap. Like, I mean, these are continuously building the talent. And then they also have the club experience. And that voting experience alone blows my mind. And that, I think that one was just on their Instagram story. It might have been on Facebook too, but it just, the voting in and of itself, and seeing the passion of all of these fans coming together, like, how can you vote for them? No, gotta go vote for these other guys. It's like, the fact that we even have choices, I mean, really? Like,
yeah,
it's awesome. It just, everything
about
awesome.
It is awesome. It absolutely is awesome. And I was literally looking for that post because I wanted to see who was right now leading it. But unfortunately the fan zone is like, 35,000 people that are in there.
When I looked at that particular one, this is not the club experience. This was the backfill of the band that dropped. Right. I believe Adelita's Way was leading.
That's what it was. Thank you. Adelita's Way was leading.
Who else was on there? Finger 11, Stabbing Westward, Living Color. I mean, just a ton of talent. Honestly, any one of the bands that was in that poll, I would have been more than content with. So bring it on.
And
Just
and, and I'll bring one that was unfortunately at the well, two that were unfortunately towards the bottom of the list that I would say bring them on any day when they were on that list. I was like, that's cool. It's sad to see them so low. Infected Rain, because if you love
yes,
Ginger, you
would
will
love
absolutely love
Infected
them.
Rain.
Yeah, you
Yes,
will love Infected Rain. And to me, it's like bring them along for that vibe of what Ginger brings to the stage because they are just as good. I don't think they're as well known yet. I think they'll get there. But the other one is a band called The Warning. Pure rock.
oh my, yes,
Love their stuff so far.
they are incredible. Three
Yes.
sisters out of Mexico with incredible talent. I
Yeah.
yes, yes. Thank you for
Right.
bringing
Yes.
them up. That
You're
is a band
welcome.
that I am all about. They are just yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and they're unfortunately they weren't anywhere near, but I think it could be that people just don't know that. Here we go. I found it. Oh my God. I searched by just using the word poll and somehow I found that. Go figure. Uh, yeah. So far on the poll, it's Adelaide's Way is leading by a lot. By like, I mean, by like leaps and bounds. Sick Puppies is actually next, followed then by Shaman's Harvest. And I just saw them recently. I love them. They were great. Then by Finger 11, then Steel Panther. And I will say, I know not everyone's a fan of Steel Panther.
It's a
It's
fun
that whole
time.
glam metal, but it's what it is? It's the glam metal, but they get naughty, and some people just aren't fans of that, and I can understand I respect that decision if you're not, but I absolutely love these guys just because they're fun. It's an entertainment. They know how to work the stage,
That's right.
absolutely. And they know how to fan interact. They are huge about that. And I love those guys. And I thought here's some of the other interesting ones that are listed there. CKY. And I was
Which
like,
was a
wow.
you talk about just pulling names from
Yeah.
like where oh god, it's yeah.
Yeah.
How
That was
they come up with these options that
they're
every
probably
one of them you can tell. I mean, they trigger you in like the
yeah.
best possible way. It's like,
Yeah.
and then
Without a doubt.
somehow they have the audacity to think that we can just choose and be okay with it instead of just saying bring them all.
Yeah, instead of
And
just saying bring them all.
so, Amanda, I'd like for you to have a word with your boss about this because it's really just painful to have to choose.
It is. And then quickly the rest of the list, Living Color, as you mentioned, Tantric. I think Tantric would fit that vibe really well with like the Puddle of Mud and Smile Empty Soul. Like,
Yes,
that to me is like they would fit perfectly in that camping pre-party as far as I'm concerned. I think they
that'd be
would
a
be a
fun
nice
time.
little
That would be
add-in,
that'd be a fun way to kick things off.
right? Stabbing Westward, as you mentioned, Jackal.
That's a
Wow,
drop. That's a name
that's a
drop right
drop.
there.
Yeah. Then Infected Rain, the Veer Union. I love those guys. They're really nice. And the Warning. So that was the list. That was the list. But yeah, so and I'm glad you mentioned this because one of the things like I talked about this with someone who said, like, why does everyone keep dropping names that they ask if we already know the lineup is set? And I was very clear about it too. I said, yes, we know that the lineup is already set, but this happened last year a lot, and we're going to reference Blue Ridge Math, where if somehow, some way, some band suddenly can't be on the bill because they have to drop off for one reason or another,
Whatever reason. Yeah.
whatever reason, right? Jonathan has always found a way to bring in one, and usually more than one.
That's right. That's right.
Right? He was big about that last year. It's like, oh, we lost this, so we ended up bringing in these two groups instead. Like two.
Well, and then on top of that, it's already gauging interest for next year. With a festival like this, depending on
Yeah.
the bands, I mean, they're already working to curate for next year. So if so and so is not there this year, there's a very good chance they're working for it for next year. So it's just awesome.
Yeah, I love Courtney's comment though. Buses break down and trailers go AWOL. Poor non-point. We were so sorry. We were so sorry what happened to you last year. We're glad you're back though. We're glad
Yes.
you're back. Yeah, that was a shame that happened. That held up that just killed their tour. Like, well, it didn't fully kill it. It killed it for a short time before they got everything, replaced to get back on the road again, but still. But it missed out for Blue Ridge because everyone was so excited to see them. So I'm glad they're going to be here this year. That's another band, don't miss. We've never seen them before. Don't miss Nonpoint. Ever, ever, ever.
Ever.
Must see. Yeah. Any case. So yeah, I mean, that was the thing. That's what I wanted to bring up about Blue Ridge Math. It's just, it's the way it goes. It's one drops and who knows how many more could fit in. It's gonna happen, people. I mean, like I'll tell you now, it will happen. Nobody wants to ever admit it. It will happen. The chances that we're gonna get every single band that's already lined up and scheduled to go and keep them there until when September 8th hits, it's hard. It's just there's so many moving targets that happen, especially in the world of music. And then especially when you have so many bands, it's like your chance percentage of keeping all those on the list, I don't think is going to be, I mean, I'm not saying like the whole lineup's going to fall apart. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we're probably going to get at least one other band, I'm sure at some point, that's going to fall off because it's just, stuff happens, it's just par for the course. If we don't get another drop, ever on this lineup, I would be stunned. Like I would literally be shocked. But like I said, just things happen. So like, don't get disappointed if it does. It's just, we have plenty of other content that's going to be at this festival to keep you busy and entertained for sure. It's just our world right now with music is just so chaotic at times, it's just so nuts. So we'll see. Like someone gets arrested for some stupid reason or another. We never see that happen with bands, right? Ever. So, but in any case, yeah. So that's our discussions for tonight. Just on a quick note, these crazy ideas that I had, and assuming if people would be interested in seeing this. Last year, I did a bunch of interviews with the rising talent acts when they got announced. I brought them on and did Zoom calls with them, and then we talked. I wrote up a write-up and I put it online for people to share. This year, I'm thinking if when the rising talent acts finally get announced, where the regionals are, Amanda said they're working still through that list. So whenever they do get announced, I'm thinking we bring them on and interview them live.
Be awesome.
Would people be interested in seeing that?
Let us know. Let us know in the comments because I know I would have a field day with that. So if anybody that's still hanging with us, let us know.
Yeah. So we'll see what we can do with that. And who knows, maybe when we get the full lineup, I might be able to pull with some of the other acts to get them on and see if they'd be willing to do a live interview too. We'll see what they say. The worst they're going to tell me is no. So,
and then we'll still talk about them.
Yeah, we'll talk about them either way. So it doesn't matter. But we'll see. I don't know. See what I can do. See what strings I can pull. How about that? Let's see where we go from there.
I'm on board. So
I know
as always, I appreciate the opportunity to be here and hang out with you, Bernard, hang out with our viewers. It's kind of cool getting to see some regulars on there. So I appreciate everybody hanging out with us as always.
I appreciate everyone that comes on board too. And I always appreciate you and your time. So thank you, Danny, as always. So, but we're going to go ahead and call that a wrap for tonight. So just everyone's awareness. So we will be back on Wednesday at 8 o'clock to cover everything that gets announced for tomorrow. And then on Wednesday during the day, we will not be here on Friday. So Friday is a my fault thing. I have another event I need to cover all weekend. So I'm not even available on the weekend to do a special, sidebar of our live stream. So we're going to unfortunately miss Friday. So that means on Monday, when we're back on the following Monday, we are going to cover everything.
Content.
Yes, we're going to talk about everything from that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So at least, if we get 3 apiece, we're going to talk about 12 bands that night. So, be with us, share it out, be with us, please. Let's get some more people to come in and talk and chat. We love your conversation. We appreciate it. So in any case, but thank you everyone once again for joining us. We will be back Wednesday at 8 o'clock. You have a good evening and we'll talk to you soon.